This video, we're going to learn about the number system. You should have your printed notes with you so that you can fill in the blanks and follow along. Let's begin. The number system organizes numbers based on their type and characteristics. As we move forward in this video, you're going to learn about whole numbers, integers, positive, and negative numbers. Those are things you might be familiar with. So before we talk about numbers, let's think about opposites. So they want us to fill in the blank with the opposite terms. So the opposite of agree is disagree. The opposite of awake is asleep. Outside, inside. Laugh, cry. Closed, open. Weak and strong. Loud and quiet. Safe and unsafe or dangerous. Down and up. Old and young, or old and new. So why are we talking about opposites? Well, it's because numbers also have opposites. We don't often think about it that way, but positive and negative whole numbers are called integers. So positive numbers and negative numbers are opposites, and they are called integers. Let's explore this a little bit further. So we need to place these numbers, -2, 4, 15, and so on, in this diagram. We need to label this diagram first. In the big box, we type in integers, and in the small box, we're going to write whole numbers. Now, a whole number is just a number that you learned in kindergarten, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 100, a million. Those are all whole numbers. So something that wouldn't be a whole number would be like 1.4 or 2.5. Integers, as we learned in the last slide, are whole numbers that can be positive or negative. So if it's a negative, it's not a whole number. If you want to think about it in a different way, think about it this way. So notice whole numbers are the whole number boxes inside an integer. It's because all whole numbers are integers. Let's look at this diagram below. Birds and animals. And they want us to place the following in the diagram: pigeon, shark, ostrich, parrot, and lion. So pigeon is a kind of bird, so it goes in there. But does that mean a pigeon is also an animal? Yes, because it's in both boxes. A shark, is it a bird? No, it is an animal though. So it's an animal, but not a bird. What about ostrich? It's a bird, which makes it an animal. A parrot, it's also a bird, which makes it an animal. A lion, it is an animal, but it's not a bird. So it doesn't go in the bird box, but it's still an animal. So we would do the same thing with these numbers right here. -2, it's not a whole number. It's not the kind of number you'd learn in kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's negative. So, but it is still an integer. So 4 is a whole number. It's positive and it's whole. 15 is a whole number. -6.8 is a tricky one. It is a trick. It is not a whole number. It's not an integer. It's called a rational number. So if you want to think about it, a rational number is like an even bigger box that these two boxes are in. If you want to think about it in our animals and birds, it's kind of like if we put tree down here. A tree is not an animal or a bird, but it is a living thing. So, you could put it somewhere. So -6.8 is neither integer nor whole number. 0 is a whole number. It's a little tricky. And -15, it's not a whole number because it's negative, but it is an integer. So we're going to put it in this section. Look at the number line below. What do you notice about the numbers to the left of 0? Well, if I look at all these numbers to the left of 0, you could see that they're all negative numbers. From 0 to -1. Yeah, everything to the left or less than 0 is negative. So let's fill out this table. They want us to write down what the opposite of 6 is. Well, the opposite of 6 is -6, and you may be wondering why. Well, think of it this way. If you graph 6 on a number line, we're going to have a starting point of 0, and 6 is 6 spaces away from 0. You have to move forward or move to the right 6 spaces to get to 0, to get to 6. Now, what's the opposite of moving forward 6 spaces? Well, it's moving backwards or left 6 spaces. Right there. So if you move backwards or left 6 spaces. So forward 6 spaces or backwards 6 spaces. That's what makes them opposites. The second question, the two numbers 3 away from -1. This is kind of confusing. They want us to tell them what are the two numbers that are 3 spaces away from -1. So -1 is over here. 3 spaces away is 1, 2, 3. It's 2. So you can say -1 plus 3 spaces is 2. And if you're going to go left, that's like negative. So we're going to start at -1 again and go 3 spaces left, or -3. And that lands you at -4. So you would write that as -1 and -3, or -3 equals -4. What's the opposite of 2? Well, it's -2 for the same reason. -2, or sorry, -2 and 2 are 2 spaces away from 0. What is the opposite of -5? Well, it is 5. We don't have to illustrate that. What's neither positive nor negative? 0. It's not positive or negative. Finally, the two numbers 6 away from -3. So we're going to start at -3, and they're asking us which numbers are 6 spaces away. Let's look at let's go to the right first. And we see that 3 is 6 spaces away. But also, if we go left 6 spaces, 5, 6, we end up at -9. So we can write -3 plus 6, or plus 6 to the right, equals 3. And -3 minus 6, or 6 backwards, is going to get you -9. If you want to think about it a different way, if you owe someone 3 oranges and then you owe them 6 more, you would owe a total of 9 oranges. I know, kind of a weird thing, owing oranges. How is a number related to its opposite? Well, numbers are related to their opposites because they are the same distance away from 0. So 3 is the same distance away from 0 as -3. All right, so we're going to use a number line below, brainstorm different real-world phrases that indicate positive and negative numbers. So negative, when you see word problems, you want to know what are some words that are related to negative. So first we've got loss or lose, we've got decrease, we've got minus. We also have expense, bought or spend. When you spend money, you have like negative money. When you have an expense, you have negative money. When you decrease or lose things, that's negative. When you go below, you're going down. And so we want to think of going down or backwards as negative. If we fall down, again, that's negative. Debit, a debit is kind of a banking word. It means you are spending money, or so that's negative. And withdrawing, you're taking money out of the bank. That's negative. Electron has to do with atoms, and an electron is like the negative part of an atom in science. Zero, 3 words that have to do with 0 or related to 0 are neutral, at sea level, and neutron. Now, neutron is like the not positive, not negative part of an atom, so it's kind of a weird science word. And finally, positive. What are the words that have to do with positive? We have gain, we have increase, we have rise, we have plus, we have above. So going up, gaining, increasing, rising, that's all positive. Credit, kind of like extra credit, that's positive. Deposit, that's putting money in the bank, you're getting more. Proton is the positive part of an atom in science. So what does it have to do with anything? It's going to help us with these examples. So what mathematicians do is they take real-world examples and they convert them into mathematical expressions. Now, a mathematical expression or equation can only have numbers and operations or symbols. So you can't have words. So a football player caught a 57-yard pass. How would you convert that to a mathematical expression with only numbers and symbols? Well, you could write just 57 plus 57, because if you know sports, if you know football, that's a good thing. You've gained 57 yards for your team, so that's positive 57. The temperature dropped 15 degrees overnight. So you want to look at dropping 15 degrees. Remember, dropping down, bad, that's going to be negative 15. A mathematician is going to rewrite that as negative 15. He can't use words. He's only going to use numbers in his mathematical expression. Your account is credited with $14. Well, remember, a credit is good. So that would be positive 14. You can write the plus in front of it. You don't have to. A submarine travels at 550 feet below sea level. You're going down, which means that's negative 550, negative 550. Carbon has 6 protons. If you looked at the list before, remember protons are positive. It's kind of a weird one. So 6 or plus 6. Las Vegas, Nevada has an average temperature of 101 degrees above 0. Even though it being that hot seems like kind of a negative thing, remember, it's above 0. It's to the right of 0. It's greater than 0, so it would be plus or positive 101. A bank account is overdrafted. We didn't talk about this, but overdrafting is a bad thing. It means you've taken more money out than you have. So that would be negative 27. Or quarterback is sacked for a loss of 5 yards. And even if you don't know what it means to sack a quarterback, a loss of 5 yards, a loss is a bad thing. You're losing, you're going backwards. So that's negative 5. Lastly, write a situation to describe negative 28. So we're doing the opposite of what we did in 1 through 8. We're going to write a sentence that's related to negative 28. So I wrote a couple. You could have written, the ball fell 28 feet. And that's negative because you're falling, you're going down. He lost $28. She spent $28. So again, losing $28. The bank was robbed by $28. The bank just lost $28. She lost 28 colored pencils. Yep, doesn't just have to do with money. Or the temperature dropped by 28 degrees. So that's our lesson on the number system. We talked about positive numbers, negative numbers. We talked about integers, and we talked about whole numbers. Go ahead and use that to help you tackle some math problems now. Good luck.